Today, we are strapping into a very dense, multidimensional piece of source material. It's less a collection of articles and more, I guess, a map of a fractured universe.
Oh, absolutely. It's a quest narrative, but it's also mixed with this really unsettling metafiction.
And it focuses on a community tragedy, which then climaxes in this chilling realization about the fabric of reality itself.
Exactly. This is the moment where Roland the Gunslinger's ka-tet, that's Roland, Eddie, Susannah, Jake, and of course Oy, the Billy Bumbler, they have to confront not just some, localized physical evil, they're up against the systemic collapse of all the dimensions.
So our mission today is to, well, to navigate all this complexity, synthesize the deep lore, and try to pull out the clearest insights on, I suppose, survival and predestination.
That's the core of it.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately. We're joining them deep in Midworld, and they're facing this crisis in a place called Calla and Sturgis.
Right. But their ultimate objective, the thing that never ever wavers, is the Dark Tower.
The nexus of all where and when.
Exactly. It's the anchor of existence. But the road there, well, it's led them straight into this localized nightmare that, it demands their immediate intervention.
And we have to start by framing Roland's destiny, don't we? Because everything that happens here is colored by it.
We do. You have to recall the palaver he had with the man in black years and years ago. It laid out the whole roadmap for the ka-tet using this bizarre tarot-like reading.
With 3 cards.
The 3 cards. He emphasized the prisoner, the Lady of Shadows, and death.
And the most terrifying line in that whole prophecy was that death was, but not for you, gunslinger.
Chilling. And Roland spent years, just years, wrestling with who those first 2 cards were. He eventually realized they represented Eddie Dean.
The prisoner, trapped by his addiction.
And Odetta Holmes, the Lady of Shadows, trapped by her own, fractured personality.
But the thing is, the destiny kept shifting. It wasn't static. When Odetta and the violent Detta Walker merged into Susannah Dean.
The prophecy didn't just disappear. It refined itself. Roland realized the journey wasn't about fulfilling these static roles. It was about integrating all the shattered parts of their personalities, their histories, into a cohesive whole. A proper ka-tet.
So these prophecies, they just keep reinforcing this sense that their whole quest is being, directed by some unseen hand.
Exactly, a sense of fatalism.
That feeling that they're just actors in a play, it's reinforced by detail that is, frankly, becoming bizarrely statistical.
The number 19.
The number 19.
And that's where the analysis needs to get, a lot deeper than just saying it's a coincidence. 19 has become a catchword for them.
Right, it's replaced their old slang like bum hug.
They use it lightly, but there's this underlying current of dread to it. It implies a pattern that is not random. It feels pre-programmed into the universe's operating system.
And this is where it gets really unsettling.
Yeah.
Because the sources give us these specific, almost absurd examples of this compulsion. Take Jake and Eddie.
Yes. They both confessed separately to instinctively bringing in armloads of firewood for the fire, and each time it was exactly 19 pieces.
They couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
It felt right. The only correct natural number.
It speaks to a fundamental reality, where the fabric of existence is woven with this specific numerical sequence. And then it gets even stranger. They start analyzing the people operating this conspiracy against the tower, and they realize that names that are vitally important to their quest, that cross worlds and times.
They all contain 19 letters.
Exactly 19 letters.
Give us the names, because this detail it's like the key signature of the great evil.
So we're talking about Claudia Inez Bachmann, the woman tied to the very earliest stages of Jake's story, and critically in this phase, Richard Patrick Sayre.
The executive vice president of the Sombra Corporation.
The very same. The fact that the ultimate architects of chaos, the ones threatening the Rose in New York, the tower itself, are all statistically aligned by this one number. It suggests that Ka, or destiny, isn't just a gentle guiding hand.
It's a formula. A precise numeric formula being implemented by some higher power.
It transforms coincidence into confirmation.
And if all the pieces align to 19, then their whole journey is less about the choices they make and more about, well, just hitting the required plot points.
I think so.
But let's move from that numerical destiny to the immediate visceral horror they're facing. Calla and Sturgis.
The Calla is, on the surface, designed to look idyllic. It's described as a civilized, almost storybook farming town.
Successful, too. They grow rice spuds.
And the source even mentions nearby manufacturing Callas, suggesting this large, if, declining agricultural society stretching for thousands of miles.
But beneath that veneer, a deep generational trauma.
And this trauma revolves entirely around the wolves.
The Calla has faced this for centuries, on a devastatingly predictable schedule. The wolves come once a generation.
Which the locals have timed at roughly every 23 years.
Right. The source mentions that over the grand sweep of time, maybe it's happened 6 times in the last, 120 to 140 years?
And the ritual of the abduction is just so precise and terrifying. They come out of the east from a desolate region called Thunderclap.
And they're so regular that their arrival is often foretold by their robot, Andy, on a specific scheduled day.
It's horrifyingly punctual.
And their target is always so heartbreakingly specific. They take 3 to 4 dozen kids, but always
twins.
Always twins. They're targeting the reproductive future of the community. Locals talk about the specific twins taken in past cycles. Hedden and Hedda, Lyman and Leah.
The Tavary twins.
Right. Why only twins? I mean, what does that imply about their mission?
That's the critical question, isn't it? If this were just some savage, cannibalistic raid, they'd take any children they could get. Targeting twins implies a genetic or maybe a reproductive requirement. It's probably related to the Crimson King's efforts to destroy the beams.
So it's kind of selective harvesting.
Exactly. But the real horror, as you said, isn't the taking. It's the return of the victims, the roont ones.
The Calla folk call them roont because their lives are just utterly destroyed. They're returned as husks, childlike in stature, speech, behavior.
And they stay that way until they hit about age 16. Then comes this horrifying, agonizing metamorphosis.
The source material is so vivid here. Jaffords, one of the elders, describes it chillingly. He says,
when a baby cuts his teeth, you can how they cry. It's as if their whole bodies are teething, Kenneth.
It just suggests this massive, sudden, painful change in their physical form. They sprout almost overnight to the size of young giants, but their minds
stay empty.
And the cruelty continues beyond that. The sources are explicit. These returned victims, like Tia and Zalman, they're mentally empty, and critically, they are returned sexually dead.
No capacity for mating, no reproduction.
It's a deliberate generational attack on the community's future, on its spirit.
It is the systemic, planned destruction of a society. The emotional toll is so severe that it's not uncommon for the Calla townsfolk to openly discuss suicide.
Universal suicide. A farmer, Garrett Strong, suggested killing babbies and grown-ups alike might be better than living through another cycle.
That level of despair, that's the true indicator of the profound evil they're facing.
And that desperation is a powerful engine for Roland's intervention. So let's look at the wolves themselves. The Calla folk tried to resist, right, with what they had.
They did. Rusty soft calibers, bows. It was futile, completely futile against the enemy's superior technology.
They ride gray horses, wear these green cloaks. But the key visual is the snarling wolf masks.
And those masks are deceptive. They look like metal, but the Calla folk note that they rot, like skin.
That detail is so important. It suggests a theatrical element, an attempt to look monstrous and organic, but it's masking something much colder.
Colder and more efficient. And the gear they use is a massive technological leap, light sticks.
Which Roland immediately identifies as high-powered laser weapons.
And these flying explosive drones the locals have dubbed sneeches.
So you have this industrialized raid coming out of the desolate Thunderclap region. It implies a sophisticated, organized intelligence is running the whole show.
And that suspicion is confirmed during the battle. We learn that all the outward aspects of the wolves, the masks, the cloaks, the horses, it's all misdirection.
They're not magical creatures.
No. They're cyborgs. Or robots. When Eddie Dean finally tears a mask off, he reveals smooth metal, plus lenses that served as eyes. They're mechanical soldiers, designed for efficient harvesting.
This changes the threat entirely. They aren't dealing with a demonic horde, but a factory operation.
Run by a technologically capable entity designed to procure genetically specific children for some terrible systematic purpose. It's far more chilling than old-world magic.
It really is. And the fact that they're cyborgs, it just reinforces that connection between the technological corporate evil of Sombra in New York and the military operations here in Midworld.
It feels like the same intelligence is managing both the real estate side and the child harvesting side of the operation.
That's a perfect transition because the local horror of the wolves is immediately tied to this much broader, almost dizzying horror of the collapsing universe.
To save the Cadella, the ka-tet has to learn how to jump, not just between worlds, but between different whens, different time periods of the same world, specifically New York.
This is one of the most intellectually challenging concepts in the sources, I think. The simple linear understanding of time is just broken.
It is. Eddie Dean tries to conceptualize it. He says, very profoundly, that time is a face on the water.
It's not a river they travel down.
No, it's a vast shimmering surface where multiple versions of the same place exist at the same time. You just need the right portal.
And they need to visit two very specific versions of New York. They need cash, first of all, which means a jump back to 1964.
So Susannah can access her massive inheritance through her father's accountant, Moses Carver.
And that money is for a specific property purchase.
Which requires the second jump to 1977 to secure that vital location.
This location is the absolute central focus of the entire dimensional struggle. It's just a vacant lot, corner of 2nd Avenue and 46th Street.
A typical urban wasteland, but growing right in the middle of it is a massive wild rose.
And Roland, the moment he senses it, he's just profoundly affected. He recognizes this immense power, a stabilizing force, a pull that feels stronger than anything outside the actual tower.
He feels, and I'm quoting here is the sanity and clarity you thought were lost.
So the source material is pretty clear. This rose is either the Dark Tower itself, translated into this vulnerable physical form.
Or it's the vital door that opens onto the tower.
It's the linchpin.
It absolutely is. You have to remember, the purpose of the tower is to anchor the beams, which are the structural supports of the entire universe. If the rose is destroyed, the corresponding beam, and thus the tower itself, is destabilized.
And that destruction is the primary goal of the Sombra Corporation.
Sombra Real Estate Associates. Incorporated suspiciously in Nassau, a powerful, closed corporation. They specialize in high-tech, construction, and ominously, real estate.
Their plan is specific. Level the lot and build the Turtle Bay luxury condominiums.
Universal terrorism masked as urban gentrification. It's brilliant.
And the links are irrefutable. Eddie and Jake, they uncover a memorandum of agreement about the lot between Calvin Tower.
The bibliophile who owns it and refuses to sell.
And Richard Patrick Sayre.
The 19-letter name, Executive Vice President of Sombra Inc., a high-level agent of the king, no doubt.
And Jake theorizes, chillingly, that the Sombra Corporation headquarters holds a door, a permanent control portal right back to Midworld.
A secure bridge for the dark forces. Their corporate headquarters is a dimensional armory.
And the way the ka-tet navigates these chaotic jumps is called Tadash.
Tudash. The experience of traveling between worlds, it's often accompanied by these distressing, overwhelming chimes, which the locals call kermen.
The Mani, these blue-cloaked travelers, they view Tadash as a profoundly holy rite, a recognition of the infinite dimensions held by the tower.
Right. And their physical portal is in the hills near the Calla, in the doorway cave. They learn they can aim it, like a gun, to a specific time and place.
But the function of this door is tied to an object of absolute, unmitigated evil.
Black 13.
One of the wizard's rainbow, a crystal ball held in a specific wooden box.
Carved with 3 ominous symbols, a rose, a stone, and a door, with the word unfound written underneath.
And the hum of the ball, which Roland fears instinctively, it rises sharply whenever the physical door is touched. It's both the map and the compass for this dimensional travel.
I think we need to spend a moment on the true nature of Black 13, though. The source is very clear this is not a neutral tool.
No, not at all. Roland sensed its profound malevolence. And the Mani, who were used to dimensional chaos, they were terrified of the blackness it cast. They said there was something red inside.
And Roland the gunslinger, he believes that red might be the eye of the Crimson King himself.
So this isn't just a navigational aid. It's a conduit for a primordial force.
It grants the ability to aim the door, yes, but it carries this immense risk of madness and psychic contamination. The ka-tet is forced to use the darkest possible tool to achieve the purest goal.
That juxtaposition is a perfect symbol for their entire quest.
It is.
And this complexity is only amplified by the newest and maybe the most tragic member of the ka-tet, Père Callahan, the old fella.
A former Catholic priest, a man of deep faith, but scarred by experience. He has that distinct cruciform scar on his forehead.
His life story is the perfect microcosm of the dimensional collapse Roland is trying to fix.
Callahan's story is absolutely pivotal. Before he ever reached Midworld, he was battling inner demons in New York City. He struggled for a long, long time with alcoholism.
He said it was because he was spiritually unsettled.
He had this amazing description of it, saying alcohol turned his thought processes into a circus of clowns.
He hit rock bottom, found a moment of true clarity in a jail cell in 1982, and he resolved to live only if he could justify the risk others had shown him.
So he got sober. He started the second life working at the homeless shelter, trying to serve others.
And it was that renewed commitment that put him squarely in the crosshairs of the great evil.
Because years earlier, in another life, Callahan had this terrifying encounter with a powerful ancient vampire named Barlow.
And Barlow, in a horrific act, forced Callahan to drink his blood.
That act gifted Callahan, tragically, with the ability to see lesser vampires, specifically Type 3 vampires.
And this distinction is crucial, isn't it? Type 3s are the insidious modern version of the vampire.
They're the ones that can operate in daylight, consume regular food, and they can pass amnesia on to their victims, which makes them incredibly hard to trace.
The most chilling detail is that the victims disappear right out of their clothes. They just leave behind small metal things, like watches or rings.
And Callahan, driven by his new purpose, hunted and killed half a dozen of these predators in New York.
His commitment made him a target. He was attacked by the Hitler brothers. These punks hired to find him.
At a washateria, at all places. He was saved by this almost angelic intervention, unseen figures with a blinding searchlight. But he was pulled out of that darkness only to be lured directly into the web of the Sombra Corporation.
The corporate evil again. He was lured to a meeting with Richard P. Sayre.
The 19-letter name, yet again.
In Detroit in 1983. And the date, December 19th. The number 19 setting the stage.
He was promised a major charitable donation, but it was a trap.
And that meeting room was a nexus of evil. 3 lowmen, the henchmen of the tower, 9 Type 3 vampires, and Walter, the man in black.
Walter's face was described so vividly as a human weasel, and he, like Sayre, had that distinct, welling red circle on his forehead, the mark of the king.
It was in that room that Walter opened the box with Black 13 and thrust it at Callahan.
And as the priest fell backward through a door that just suddenly appeared when he bumped the wall, the ball rolled. Callahan describes it rolling like an actual eye in an invisible socket.
He grabbed the box, fell to dash, and was just flung across dimensions.
What stands out to me is the destination. The ball, even when it was mostly quiet, sent him twice. Once to Mexico, and once, terrifyingly, to the Castle of the King.
The sheer gravitational pull of the tower's evil is confirmed by that one flash to the king's domain.
And he finally deposited the box in the Calla church just to quiet the terrifying thing.
Which brings us to the meta-reality crisis. For me, this is the most existentially horrifying part of the entire source.
When they're in the doorway cave, Jake is holding a novel he brought from New York, a book that details Callahan's former life. Presumably, Salem's lot.
And Jay starts reading aloud, not just general facts, but specific, secret details from Callahan's deepest, most guarded memories.
Things like his college sampler quote, the name of the bogeyman in his childhood closet, Mr. Flip.
And the precise moment when Barlow broke his sacred cross. These are intimate, defining moments of his soul, and they're written in a book by S.K. in another reality.
This just shatters Callahan. He erupts in anguish, screaming, "Damn it, I'm a real person."
It's the ultimate crisis of agency, isn't it? If his life, his struggles, his failures, his defining battles were just the fictional creation of an author in another world, how real is anything?
And Roland, the ultimate figure of destiny, he seems to absorb this faster than anyone. But for the listener, and certainly for the ka-tet, the lines between reality and narrative just dissolve entirely.
It reinforces the idea that the tower isn't just a place. It's the physical location where all stories converge and the rules of fiction are made real.
And the question of whether they're making choices or just following a dangerous script written long ago becomes impossible to ignore.
And that question of agency is immediately put to the test in the battle. With the wolves 9 days away, Roland just throws out all the Cadell's traditional defensive strategies.
The very traditions that had led to generational failure, he rejects the garnet mine at the end of the arroyo as a hiding place.
He believes the wolves find the children not through magic or some advanced tech, but through something far more base, local betrayal.
He deduces there's a rat in this particular corn crib. Someone is squealing the children's whereabouts to thunderclap for profit or a promise.
This realization changes the entire strategy. It goes from passive hiding to active ambush.
And Roland swiftly identifies the prime suspect, Ben Slightman the Elder.
the father of Benny, one of the few singleton children in the Calla.
Roland's cynicism is so sharp here. He suspects Slight Man sold his soul for something utterly petty, like a pair of spectacles, exploiting the Calla's trusting nature for a cheap commodity.
And the conduit for this treachery is the seemingly harmless messenger robot, Andy.
Andy, DNF 44821V63. He's programmed to give fortunes and carry messages, but he harbors this second insidious personality that serves the wolves.
Jake spies on him and Slightman confirms the worst. He hears Slightman confess in this choked voice that he sold my goddamn soul.
Andy, with his two personalities, one old maidish, one cozening, is the key leak. And this technological betrayal is exactly what Roland needed to confirm.
The old tradition dictated the hiding spot. Andy's programming let the wolves exploit that knowledge.
So the new plan is to feed Andy false information. Tell him the children will be hidden in the mine, while the main group is actually hidden in the rice fields by the river.
This sets up one of the most brilliant and, I think, satisfying confrontations in the narrative.
Oh, yeah. Eddie Dean ambushes Andy at the privy. He jams the door, destroys the robot's visual sensors. The resulting mechanical breakdown is truly chilling.
It's terrifying because it shows the artificial nature of the threat. Andy just screams,
Vision Zero, what have you done to me? Ambush, attack, I'm blind. Code 7, code 7, code 7.
before shutting down completely. Silence forever. Eddie removes the information leak, but it just underscores this constant need for vigilance against technology and betrayal.
Right. And with the spy neutralized, the Calla needs a fighting chance. Roland's strategy relies on adapting local tradition into a deadly weapon.
The main counterweapon is the sharpened metal throwing plate, the size Ariza.
It's based on the local tale of Lady Ariza, who killed an assassin by flinging a dish.
And the genius of Roland's strategy is recognizing that the Calla women, who use similar throwing motions every day in their farm work, they're the perfect combatants.
They train relentlessly, especially Margaret Eisenhart and Zelia Jaffords, who is noted for her incredible accuracy. She could cut that tater in 2 10 for 10.
And these aren't simple ceramic plates. The source describes them as specially designed, made of a light, strong alloy, sharpened to a razor edge.
And engineered with these fluted channels on the underside to help them fly true. They even emit this weird hum as they cut through the air.
It's this blend of ancient combat technique and specific applied engineering that saves the Calla.
And the battle itself, it confirms every one of Roland's suspicions. The wolves arrive in waves, about 60 riders in the first assault, heading straight for the decoy arroyo.
Roland, Eddie, and the women are waiting. The ambush is devastatingly effective.
The women prove the deadliness of the plates against the exposed cyborgs.
And Eddie is instantly adaptable. He engages directly with the mechanical soldiers. He confirmed their robotic nature when he rips off the mask's smooth metal beneath.
But he goes further. He learns to use the wolves' own high-tech gear against them.
He manages to lob a sneech
The flying drone explosive.
at the head wolf, causing the robot to explode from the neck up. It's a key moment of tactical victory. It shows that human ingenuity and courage can overcome superior technology.
But the victory is immediately shadowed by this sharp, painful tragedy.
Benny Slightman, Jake's new friend. He's tragically killed by a sneech after crawling out of a ditch thinking he was safe.
This is a pivotal emotional blow for Jake. He fires his Ruger in 9 steady, spaced shots. He does his part as a young gunslinger in his first major battle, but he can't save Benny.
The sight of his friend's blood. The realization that his first genuine friend in Midworld is dead. It marks this significant, terrifying acceleration of Jake's journey toward maturity and loss.
The battle for the Calla is won. The immediate threat is gone. But the source gives us no time to celebrate. The victory is instantly eclipsed by the final, devastating blow to the ka-tet.
The breaking of the Fellowship itself.
During the chaotic final moments of the fight, Susannah, or rather the malevolent alternate personality, Mia, she experiences this painful cramp and a severe headache.
It's tied directly to the chap, the baby she's carrying. It's asserting total control over her body and mind.
Mia is consumed by this primal, fierce need to protect the baby, which she sees as her own, despite its clearly inhuman nature. She successfully flees the battlefield.
And what's chilling is the preparation. She was supplied with an electric 3-wheeled motor vehicle, a trike, described as looking like a funky ATV from Abercrombie & Fitch.
Roland immediately understands that something of great power must have provided her with this ride.
Her escape is a multi-layered betrayal. Not only does she abandon them, but she takes her wheelchair as far as she can, then uses the trike heading straight for the doorway cave,
And her intention is clear. She takes Black 13 with her.
ensuring they can't immediately pursue her or aim the door. She has armed herself with the single most dangerous yet useful object they have.
And the gravity of this is underscored by Roland's assessment of the thing she's carrying. The baby, which Mia calls the chap, Roland views as nothing but poison with a heartbeat.
He fully expects the child will begin its life by slaughtering the mother.
And the demonic confirmation comes right through the air. The chilling voice of Rhea of the Coes, the witch from Roland's past, echoes from the cave, mocking Eddie.
She claims Mia is gone, and that her cannibal baby will munch its mother north from the cunt. I mean, the threat is immediate, existential, and so deeply personal to Eddie.
And adding to this fracturing is Roland's own deteriorating physical state. He's the anchor, the one who has to lead them, but he's becoming physically vulnerable.
Evelita Munoz diagnoses the severe pain in his right knee and hip as severe arthritis, the kind they call dry twist that spreads fast.
She tries to treat it with this very rough local remedy, a mix of mint, spriggum, and cat's bile.
Rock cat bile, presumably.
Right. And Roland recognizes how severe this is. He fears the physical humiliation of becoming a drag anchor on the quest. He's worried about having to be literally tied to a saddle because he can't bear the pain.
This physical vulnerability just compounds the spiritual and emotional crisis of the ka-tet.
Absolutely. But despite the betrayal, despite the pain, the final pieces of their strategic plan do fall into place, setting up the next phase.
Earlier, Eddie had successfully used the door to return to 1977 New York City to warn Calvin Tower.
This was a crucial intervention. It showed their ability to change fate, even if the timing was dictated by destiny. Eddie urgently advised Tower to sell the vacant lot not to Sombra,
but to the Tet Corporation, the company they established to protect the Rose. Lawyer Aaron Deepno was hired to draft the contract, securing that vital location.
And most brilliantly, Eddie gave Tower a specific hiding location, a place outside the city based on a postal code he saw written on a fence in the Calla.
East Stoneham, Maine. The confluence of random details across dimensions is just astonishing.
So the quest continues, driven by this double mandate. Secure the Rose in New York and recapture Susannah Mia and the infinitely dangerous Black 13.
And Roland, despite his pain, he articulates the final, profound realization that will guide them. He says, 2 hubs of existence, the Rose and the Tower and the Rose.
They're inextricably intertwined. The immediate mission is now to chase a pregnant, possessed woman armed with the Eye of the King through a series of dimensional doorways.
All while battling a massive hidden corporation intent on destroying the universe's foundation.
It's an incredible setup.
We have covered an astonishing amount of detail here. The robotic horror of the wolves, the high-tech, low-tech ambush, the dizzying collapse of time,
Father Callahan realizing his life is literally fiction.
and the betrayal of Mia. The synthesis here is that the ka-tet is struggling against a systemic collapse. The physical world is drifting, the definition of reality is dissolving.
And the precise timing of their reality shifts, dictated by the constant recurrence of the number 19, all point to this single, deep-seated question about their free will.
And that is the true deep dive question, isn't it? If major life events, Callahan's tragedy, the breaking of the Tet, the convergence of history, are all referenced in books or determined by the numerology of 19, how much agency does Roland's ka-tet truly possess?
They use the language of Ka, of destiny, constantly. But their actions against the wolves and Eddie's timely warning to Calvin Tower suggest that defiance, even if small, is possible.
The fight showed that while the grand, foretold events, the collapse of reality, may be inevitable, the outcome of those events can be shaped by courage and strategy.
Right. They changed the Calla's fate through active intervention. They defied the pattern of generational loss. But now, with Roland's physical strength failing, Jake suffering profound emotional loss, and the loss of Black 13 to the enemy, the scale of the challenge has reached its absolute apex.
Eddie knows instinctively he will lose her if I'm not careful. He has to follow Susannah. He knows he'll pursue her until he's dead or she's returned.
And considering the immense physical toll on Roland, the emotional devastation, and the fact that the 2 essential hubs of existence, the Rose and the Tower, are now threatened simultaneously and directly by Mia and the cursed ball, the group is at its most vulnerable.
So the central conflict moving forward is this. Is the ka-tet heading toward a resolution chosen by their free will, where love and determination can truly rewrite this painful script?
Or are they simply fulfilling a dangerous, foretold story, moving inevitably toward that final chapter where destiny, symbolized by the number 19, will simply claim them all, regardless of their courage?
That is what we are left to ponder as they step through the door.